Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another free webinar from the Academy of Cheese. We're very, very excited this week because we are just finishing off the last core module at level 3. I have a sneaky preview of the level 3 fellow badge. They're ready. They are ready, chaps. And we're looking to be awarding this certification of the level 3 fellows in the next couple of weeks. So if you've been hanging around, holding back, get going. It's here. We're very, very excited. So to become a level 3 fellow, you have to do the 4 core modules at level 3 and 4 supplementary modules. There's a variety. There will be more supplementary modules coming, and those you will need to complete as part of the Master of Cheese, along with some other tasks. But we'll get to that again, because tonight it's all about Chiswick Cheese Market Cheesemakers Grant that we launched last year. We've got the wonderful Dean Storey with us, who was one of our awardees. We've got 2 of the most gorgeous ladies from Chiswick Cheese Market. And I'm going to introduce you first of all to Lucy, who is going to tell us all about the grant and how it got going and the reasons for the grant. So I'm just going to add a spotlight to Lucy. Lucy, hello, good evening. Lovely to see you. You're looking super glamorous with that necklace.
Well, I'm actually at the Fuller's headquarters. So anybody who likes a pint of London Pride, I am at the home of London Pride. So yes, woohoo! I don't have a glass of beer in my hand, but I nearly do. So we're a group of ladies, and we set up the cheese market nearly 3 years ago, and we all work for nothing. And our traders basically pay for pitches, and we earn the money, and we decided early on that it was going to be for charity or for sponsorship and to help promote our local area, but also the cheese industry. So we give some of our money to a local homeless charity, and the rest we put back into the cheese industry. And last year, with your great help, Tracy, and the Academy of Cheese, we set up the new Cheesemakers Grant, and it's helping to educate, mentor, and hopefully bring market where, because it's a tough job. It's a tough job. I mean, you know, to move from that place where you're making a little bit of cheese at home and perhaps get into the commercial side of cheese, or like Dean, take over a creamery, knowing very little, is just such an enormous mountain to climb. So we were really pleased. So what we've done is put some of our money into that, and joined with the expertise of the Academy of Cheese, our expertise in marketing and hopefully bringing the cheese to market. And somewhere along the line, we'll end up with some new fabulous cheeses that's all under our hats. And we just love Dean to death anyway. So he's just such a gorgeous person. So we're thrilled to be working with him.
I know. And we've had 3 other awardees who will bring to the, to the conversations, further down the line. It does, like you say, take time. And we've had applications that we're going through now for the next year's grant. So we thank you, ladies, and all the people that support Chiswick Cheese Market for making this happen. The money that the awardees get given goes towards them studying with the Academy of Cheese and doing the courses to help them. So Dean will tell us a little bit about that. Now, Lucy, have you got to shoot off?
I have got to shoot off because I'm actually got 2 hats on this evening. But all I'm saying is I was very, very naughty, and I was just eating some cheese just before we opened up. And my mouth is so excited with the flavour because I have been eating the other monk. And let me just tell you, you sent me the other monk, and I was away, and my stepson left it out for 2 days. And my other monk is the most delicious, creamy thing in the world. So Lucy's got the other half of it, so she'll pick it up and she'll tell you what's going on with our other monk, because it is fabulous. So I'm going to say thank you ever so much, and I'm going to, because I fear I'm going to get noisy.
Well, I reckon the little Hereford will go lovely with that pint you're about to pull.
Oh, definitely. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to just leave you. I might just call back in if I can. I'm just going to see the crew here. But Dean, just everybody will just love to hear your story.
Well, thank you, Lucy, and have a great evening, and do come back in if you can. Now, what I've admitted to say, sorry, not to you, Lucy, but to the delegates, to the participants, is do drop where you're zooming in from in the chat. Tell us where you are in the country or the world, please. And then if you've got any questions, do put them in the Q&A box or in the chat box, and I'll pick them up and deliver those to Dean as we go along. Okay, Lucy, we'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Right, so Dean, I'm going to highlight you because I want to introduce. So I'm going to say, Dean, we've got with us. He looks like he's about to pilot a cheese ship, but he has young children in the house, so he's keeping them at bay and the noises from bay. And then we've got another Lucy, or Lucinda, as we sometimes call you, who is joining us now. Lucinda is also from Chiswick Cheese Market and works really hard at making that happen, but went to make cheese with Dean with other Lucy a couple of weeks ago or last week. So you're going to tell us a bit about that as we go along.
Okay.
So I think what we'll start, Dean, is if you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story and where you've come from, because I think it's really intriguing, you know, your journey and how fast your journey has been in the last, you know, few months.
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty much a year.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, I suppose firstly I just wanted to take issue with the word masterclass, because I am a very new cheesemaker, and also just slightly take issue with the word Hereford hero. I've never been called a hero before, but I do quite like it. But it was definitely part of, thank you, but it was definitely part of my motivation when the possibility of taking on the cheese making at Monklands came up, was to try and keep these lovely Herefordshire recipes going, because there was Kaz and Mark, who ran the dairy for 27 years, are, by their own admission, getting on a bit, and yeah, there was the danger that these lovely old recipes would have got lost. So it was definitely an exciting part, and you know, a bit of an honour to be making these recipes that Kaz and Mark have worked on for so many years. So yeah, a bit of my history. I've been a chef for the last 20 years, and I worked in a cafe that was very excited about working with local food makers. We worked with Charlie at Neal's Yard Creamery, and we worked with the lovely Tudge family for 20 years, making the most gorgeous pork products. And when the chance came up to take on the cheese making, it just excited me to be one of those local producers who, you know, their hard work and gorgeous produce just keeps the industry going and makes it so exciting.
Had you made cheese before?
No, I hadn't made cheese before. No.
Wow.
I'd eaten a lot of cheese. I talked to Charlie a lot about his cheese. I was fascinated by the process. I mean, I say I was a chef, and I was very excited about things like sourdough breads and beer and wine making, the whole fermentation process. So I had a bit of knowledge, but I wasn't really totally prepared for the steep learning curve that cheese making is and has been over the last year. But I also studied biology at university and microbiology. So cheese making's kind of brought together two different strands of my life: the cooking and the science that is really important to the cheese making process. So yeah, this was all February 23 that I got in touch with Mark and Kaz, and I went along and worked with them for 5 or 6 sessions, just working with them and starting to understand the process. And yeah, I became slightly obsessed, and I read Bronwyn Purcell's book and Paul Thomas's book about home cheese making, and anything else I could read about it, and I got very excited. And at the end of these sessions, and 2 or 3 months down the line, we had this wonderful produce to eat as well. So yeah, it's been a great learning experience.
And a very steep one. You've learnt so much in such a short time. And I've got some cheeses tonight, and we were just saying earlier, they are wonderful. I mean, they're very clean. They're very typical of their make. I mean, they're really good quality. So you seem to have got the knack as well. There is that is a science, but there's a little bit of magic that goes on.
Yeah, yes,
an intuition,
and the feeling of it as well. So I've had Kaz over my shoulder telling me how long to cut the curd for, which has been fantastic. But there's nothing like getting your hands in and feeling the curd and understanding why we're cutting to a certain size. And that takes, that has taken time. I think I was very lucky to come into an industry that is so supportive as well. I mean, the Chiswick Cheese grant, the Chiswick Cheese Market grant was fantastic. It put me in touch with the Academy of Cheese, and I did courses with Patrick McGuigan, and learned more about the various wonderful cheeses we have in this country. But then also I went and did the course with Yvonne Larcher at the
School of Artisan Food.
The School of Artisan Food at the Welbeck Estate,
yeah.
And then also did the course with Katie that the Academy of Cheese had organised.
You came to the level 2 course, didn't you? The level 2 course that we did at Harper Adams in Shropshire. So not too far for you to travel to that one.
No, it was great. Yeah, and the cheese industry folk I've met have been incredibly supportive. And Charlie at Neal's Yard, I've been and spent a fair bit of time with, picking his brains and talking all things cheese. And Jake, who works at Neal's Yard Creamery, has come to work with me at Monkland as well. He had worked at Monkland before. And Kaz and Mark have been incredibly supportive. So there does seem to be a real groundswell of warmth in the cheese industry for for the diversity of products that does make it so exciting.
Well, that's excellent news, and I think that's why many of us have stayed in the industry. I've been in it for 20 years, and because for that reason, that everybody is looking out for each other and supporting each other. So that's great news for you as a new cheesemaker, that you've had that support. We haven't added to the conversation yet either that all of these cheeses you're making with raw milk. So that adds quite a few conundrums as well.
Yeah.
Tell us about the milk.
So yeah, Kaz and Mark have always used the wonderful dairies in Herefordshire. So we inherited 2 farms that we go to collect our milk from every morning. Yeah, they're very invested in the process as well. And I've learned an awful lot about raw milk and about the personality of Herefordshire that it brings to our cheese. That cheese making is, the cheese recipes are a process, but as we add things like the local raw milk into the mix, we get different results at the end of it, and that is a great part of the attraction of raw milk cheeses.
Yeah, and I think you're lucky to have a good supplier, because they're far and few between, or getting fewer, shall I say. So that's fantastic, and that will remain. I mean, you've been talking to Charlie Westhead, but he makes many goat's milk cheeses as well, which is obviously another conundrum to throw into the mix. So how long have you been making cheese now then? Probably 12 months, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I have been making the cheese 12 months. I mean, September we really, I mean, setting a business up has also been quite a challenge. So it has taken a bit of time to get various ducks in a row. September we started making 2 days a week, and then from Christmas this year we started making 3 days a week. So yeah, we're really into our production schedule now. We're even getting to the point where our maturing rooms are getting full. So yes, yeah, the process is working its way through now. That we've got little Herefords that are 5 months mature now, which we'll get to taste. But by the way, we will get onto tasting the cheese. It's not going to be me rabbiting on.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say that. Maybe we should taste start with one of the cheeses and taste. We've gotten some really lovely shout outs here. So we've got Liz in East Sussex, Gay, Richard is here, Claire from South Wales, Sarah is in Hampshire, Worcestershire. Hello everyone. Neil, Richard in Brighton, Rich, hi, Barclay in Chester. It's lovely. We've got lots of people from around the UK to see us tonight. Claire is saying, really impressed with these cheeses, particularly the blue. Delicious. Yes, that's one of my favourites as well, Claire. Rowan, Alistair, Morven and Mari in Edinburgh. Hiya. Are they friends of yours, Dean?
Yes.
Cousins. And then we've got Richard Piggott is reference the Monkland. Oh, sorry, my earphones come out. Is the rind edible, Dean? Aroma has damp cellar vibes in a positive vibe kind of way.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think it's very edible. My father-in-law is not so keen on the rind. He's part of the team now. He's actually doing our sales, and he's not so keen on the rind. But I say if you like the rind, and it's
it's perfectly edible though. Yeah,
absolutely.
Perfectly edible. So tell us a bit. Should we start with the little Hereford?
I'd say start with the Monkland, which is probably the youngest one. And
yes,
maybe
so the Monkland.
Okay,
so I'm going to hold up this cheese for everybody to see. So Monkland, I think lots of people bought boxes from Dean. So once again, everybody who is here, thank you for supporting one of our newest cheesemakers in the UK. You know, this is really good. You've bought the cheeses from him. We love you very, very much for doing this and supporting Dean. So thank you. So some of you got the cheeses. I'm going to hold up mine. It has got a superb rind. So tell us all about the make of this cheese, Dean, and the style of it. And then Lucinda's going to chip in with some ideas around flavour profiles and recipes. Well, how to use it, what to pair it with, and you can tell us that as well.
Okay. So yeah, we typically mature this cheese for between 8 and 12 weeks. I think this one is about 12 weeks. This is a drained curd cheese, so we use colanders, which we bought from Asda, I think. So we acidify the milk with the lactic acid bacteria. Then we add the rennet, so we cut the curds into sort of 1/4-inch pieces. We allow the curds to settle, and then we take some of the curds off to make the Monklands, which we take off in a colander. and then the forms that we get out of that, we get a beautiful shape on these. They're drained and then they are brined overnight. Then the next morning we put them into the maturing rooms, and say these are matured for between 8 and 12 weeks.
So it's got a very
but-
sort of kafili look to it and texture to it. Is that what you're aiming at with Monkland?
Yeah, I think so. I think this was one of the recipes that Kaz and Mark started with. It's it's very fresh and young and zingy and lactic, and I suppose Hereford is the thing that it's most likened to. Somebody else suggested to me it was more of a French style the other day, like Tom de Savoie or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not exactly a Hereford, is it? But I think it's there's a bit of smell of hay in there. There's I think this one particularly eats very well with cider. We had some lovely cider from Newton Court, not far from us in Leominster the other day, that this tasted absolutely delicious with. I was in the Alsace over summer and we drank lots of lovely Riesling. I think Riesling goes really nicely with this. Young and
It is, it's stunning.
fresh.
And it has got that real sort of cavey, earthy smell on the rind. Lucy, what's your thoughts on it? Hello, Lucy. I'm going to give you a little. I'm going to give you a little spotlight here now. Tell us.
I was very busy eating, obviously. I've not had a chance to cook with it or anything like that. But Lucy Coughlin and I were talking about it earlier. And like you're saying about the cider, the idea of having it with lovely fresh green crisp fruits or something like that seemed lovely to us. I don't know, how does it melt? Does it melt like a caerphilly?
Yeah, it melts really nicely actually.
Mm.
Draper's Lane Deli in Leominster made some beautiful filled pasta with it the other day, and it was
Wow.
Very nice.
it was very nice in there. It
I
was
don't
a
know.
lovely texture.
I don't know if you can see from mine there.
Yeah.
So not only did Lucy's cheese sit out for 2 days, because her stepson didn't bring it in properly.
Right.
I went to see, well, obviously the cheese market where I saw you on Sunday, Dean. And then I forgot on Monday to take the cheese back with me. So Lucy had to courier it over to me and it arrived at lunchtime today. So mine has spent even longer at the fridge. And what is interesting, that actually we had that slightly, the paste in the middle does have that slight crumble to it, but actually it's gone quite a bit softer.
Round the rind.
Around the rind, and it's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really delicious.
And I think that's where that caerphilly and that tome thing does. And I can see that's happening on mine as well, very much
Yeah.
so. It's starting, which is lovely. And I mean, Lucinda, you went and made cheese with Dean. Was it
We
last
had a
week
fabulous-
or the week before?
No, it's a bit further back than that now, I think, wasn't it? Dean? About a month, maybe even. I've got some
Okay.
photos for you. Anyway,
how
I
was that?
must just say the other thing we said about this was the loamy soil kind of thing that goes on with it, which is lovely. It is like doing the gardening or something.
It's
Really-
like a bit like an organic compost, isn't it? When you've
Yes.
got that really, really nice fresh compost and it's
It does have that.
dry. Yeah.
Well, anyway, we went
In
along to see.
in a good way, Dean.
Yes, in a good way.
Don't
Again,
look
in a good
so
vibe
worried.
way. But we went over to see Dean. Actually, it was filthy weather, wasn't it, that day? We were battling through big puddles and things. But and it was a shame, really, because Hereford is so beautiful, and to see it in the sunshine would have been marvellous. But anyway, very warm welcome we had when we got there. We met Kaz and Mark, which was nice. And for anybody who goes, if you go to the left-hand lavatory, you will see a picture of Kaz and the Prince of Wales. So, always a yes, I know.
Always a bonus
Strangely,
in the
what better?
lavatory.
Sorry?
Yeah, and always a bonus when you go to the lavatory.
Exactly.
to
I mean,
see,
who doesn't want to go to the loo with royalty? But we did have we thought kind of thing, we'll go along and we'll have a bit of chat and get a little bit involved with cheese and whatever. but we were there for the whole cheese making process.
Wow.
And we ended up literally up to our elbows in curds, didn't we, Dean? And it was marvelous, marvelous. And the idea that you can and I say to sometimes at the cheese market when we do our tastings, we have, you know, three different cheeses. You start off with this single product, and yes, there's big variations, but it's milk. But through just very small alterations in what's done to it, you end up with these fantastic, subtle variations, tastes, shapes, colours, textures, everything that goes with that.
And I think that's what very, very prominent about these four cheeses is that you know this is quite a white in colour, where except for where it's going more creamy and yellowy round the edges. Then the other cheeses, Little Hereford is very yellow. Other Monk is very white again, and then you obviously got the striking blue of the Blue Monk.
Yes, but it was the it was the Little Hereford, wasn't it? Was it Little Hereford, Dean, that we made? Yes.
We were making Little Hereford, yes, you were.
It
You
was
were
Little
milling
Hereford. Yes, and then we saw with some of the soft cheese as well going into the little molds and stuff. So which was really fantastic. And I think also out of the thing I remember particularly about that, we had good fun, and Dean is incredibly knowledgeable. He says he hasn't, you know, been doing this long and everything, but to talk to him, you would not know. He has a great deal of in-depth knowledge. I mean, lots of, and that I suppose it's your scientists coming out, but you're quite techie about it all, aren't you, as well? We just had this fantastic time, and the where you're keeping, because you keep your cheese at quite a high humidity, don't you, Dean?
Yes, yeah, 85–90%, something like
Yes,
that.
it's quite humid in the things, and the smells are just more than anything. It's the smells of those rooms with all those cheeses in. They are just things of beauty when you see them all lined up in those different ages. You know, wheat want it, whatever it might be. You know, literally day by day they're changing, aren't they, Dean? And they're just marvelous. They're just beautiful, a beautiful experience seeing them all.
Wonderful.
Really excellent. Yeah.
And I suppose we should explain that the previous owners, who are now they've semi-retired, so they're not making cheese anymore, but they've still got a cafe, isn't it, Dean, on the site? And so if you go to visit Monkland, and Monkland, this cheese is named after the village. Where are you?
It's a tiny, hamlet, really.
The hamlet where you're situated, and there is the cafe, and they use all the cheeses in the cafe, so they need you to keep making them.
When we were there, the ladies were in and out constantly getting more stuff, because people were either having their lunches, or they were coming in and buying cheeses, and they were in and out all the time, weren't they? Probably all the time anyway.
Food miles, it is literally food yards from our best customer to from the dairy to the counter.
Where it's made. That's amazing.
And actually,
saying she's go on.
I was going to say, if you do look at at anything about the Monkland Dairy, you will see fabulous reviews, not just about the cheese, but also about the fabulous cakes and bread and everything else. It is all very, very much an ethos of the whole business, whether it's from the calf side or from the cheese side, of good quality ingredients made locally. So good experience.
That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Claire says I'm drinking some homemade milk kefir with the Monkland, and it tastes lovely. Creamy, tangy kefir, bringing out the zesty flavours of the cheese. So that's a good one to note down and try, everyone. Okay, Dean, so shall we go on to the next cheese?
Yeah, Little Hereford.
Yeah, we can do Little Hereford. So this is more cheddar style.
Yeah. So this goes through a cheddaring process after the acidification and the cutting. So in the cheddaring, it's a traditional English way of making cheese. We cut it into 6-inch blocks and sit them on top of each other, all nice and snug to help the drainage. and then the curds are put through a mill, which is where Lucy came in, and that's a hand process, which takes a good 20 minutes of hard work. And then when we get to the right acidity, so we aim for around about 5.4, 5.5 pH before we salt. So we add salt to the curds, and then they're pressed. So we've got some beautiful old Victorian presses. So the little Hereford gets pressed for 2 days. And then into the maturing rooms for but between 4 and 5 months we aim to sell it for. But this example is 5 months, and I think it really starts to shine around about 5 months.
Is it, what size are they? Are they 4 kilo wheels?
4 kilo wheels, yeah.
4,
So if we don't want to take them on too much longer, because the size they are, they will dry out at some point. So 4, 5, 6 months, something like that. As you say, it's very yellow, isn't it? And one of the first words that comes to mind is often butter and cream. So Jake, who I work with, his partner, came up with a beautiful word for it the other day, and it was shortbread, which really, because when you break the paste down, it goes into this lovely sort of crumb. But at 5 months they are starting to mature a bit and get that that tang, that sharpness, that the butteriness is starting to change a bit.
There's quite a lot of sort of sweet caramel as well. When you have a good sniff of the curd of the paste, you have got that slight sweetness coming through.
It is in a way what you taste first, though, isn't it? It is that you get that sweetness first, and then the secondary thing, the tartness comes through after, which is nice, not being a full-on thing. There's a subtlety to that. That's enjoying. A nice thing to have, the build up, and completely different. It's quite a surprise, actually, isn't it? If you smelt it and just give it a bit of a squish, and the first taste, and then you get that lovely acidity come through, which we were loving.
And we were talking earlier about, I was talking to Lucy earlier on today about you went to visit Chiswick Cheese Market, this month's market, which was last Sunday, and through the Chiswick Cheese Market grant, the Lucys have been introducing you to some of the traders there, possibly taking your cheese for you. There's a lovely lady, Faye, isn't it, who's is she the big wheel cheese?
Yes, Faye very much champions small producers, and she's just a big fan of, she's there 6:30 on a Sunday morning setting up, and she's there last thing putting all down again, and just loves cheese, loves the small producer as well. So one of the things we tasted on her, we had a little spring cheese tasting session on Sunday, and one of the cheeses that we were trying, Soft Choice it was called, is from a woman who makes these very small batches of cheese from her own use, and Faye's the only person that sells it. You can't get it anywhere else but through Faye. So that's the sort of that's how small she can go. Down to 12 head of using a flock. So
but it's interesting that you're saying, Dean, that you're kind of the space that you've got for maturing stock is now filling up, but there's people out there like the Faye at the Big Cheese Wheel, and some of the mongers, the London mongers now, have got maturing rooms. So Affinage and having that facility to be able to take the cheeses from you, free up your space so you can make more, and for them to mature them onwards a little bit more. So you're going to hopefully, is that something that you would like to do, is look at some different
be
flavor
fantastic, yeah.
profiles through using
but-
these people?
Yes, for all sorts of reasons. It'd be fascinating to see what comes out of that. Yes, we're in a business, so we're looking to expand our customer base. It would be lovely for and it would be great to showcase them on the Chiswick Cheese Market. I mean, I spent a lovely couple of hours there on Sunday, and it was pretty special. We got some of the best cheeses I've ever tasted on that market within 30 yards of each other.
You were like
so,
a
yeah,
child in a sweet
that
shop, weren't you, Dean?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, I spent a lot of money and
Wide-eyed.
I did hear you were supposed to be cheering your wife on running the marathon.
yeah,
What
well, I did
happened
that later. I did. You can do both.
Yeah, so Ruth,
Yeah,
Ruth was the other Hereford hero in this partnership. You know, two different sorts of
Yes,
Hereford
yeah,
hero
well
we
done
have.
to Ruth. Yeah. She
Yeah.
finished third place.
Did she get
Yeah,
on
so,
okay?
Yeah. She 5 hours 34 minutes. She was
Fantastic. Wow. Amazing. Well done
fantastic.
her.
And she needed feeding a lot of cheese on the way home as well.
Good. Yes, I'm sure she did to get her energy levels back up. Okay, I've got a couple of questions for you. So, not with the name to it, but that's one of the questions is, does that change the cheese aging off site? That's a big question. If you would like
it's
to
a
come
massive
to
question,
Affaner of the Year, you will get a lot of
Yeah,
answers.
the French do their aging in a very different way to us, don't they? That it's a job in France, a well-respected job called the affineur, who refines the cheese, who takes it from the cheesemaker and then uses various conditions to bring the cheese on to mature it in different ways. So yes, I think the short answer is yes, it would definitely change the end product in some way, some exciting way. I would imagine. So that would be very interesting to see.
Yeah,
What
and I think
what is noticeable. Sorry, Tracy. What is noticeable about the rind on this and the Monkland is that there's a definite hookup between the two smells. Obviously, it is the biome, isn't it? Obviously, within
Yes.
your storage. And I mean, how long do you think you need to keep a cheese? If you were going, if one was going to put a cheese in up to an affinage, how long would you need to keep it so you'd get your own biome properly established, do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. As you say, our maturing rooms have their own biome. Other people's maturing rooms will have their own biome as well. So it would be interesting to see how they would interact.
I think you would want to. I think it depends on what sort of end result you wanted. You would probably want to keep the nature of your cheese by keeping them long enough to create enough of the rind so it's got to that certain point. But it might be very much experimenting, Dean, with different people that were willing to mature the cheese with you, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be exciting.
I think in answer to that question as well, Lucinda, is that with Affaner of the Year, our competition, the finals are on June the 12th. If anybody wants to come, it's the most fantastic day. But we send the cheeses out. What we've done this year, they sent the cheddar out, the Quicks not matured cheddar, Quicks cheddar. We sent that out very much earlier. In previous years, it went out at it was at least a month old, so it had the chance to form that rind. With the cheese that's gone out this year, it was only a week old, so it's really, really you know, there's going to be a change. And the other cheeses, the Baron by God, the Solstice, and the Stilton are all very, very young, a few days old before they've gone out. So
Because Mary's her ride is very, it's got that very distinct horseradish thing going on, hasn't it?
yes, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Dean, that's one question we haven't asked you actually. Is that either, I don't think the Monkland is, but is the Little Hereford, do you cloth bind that?
No, it's a natural rind. It develops,
Ah, fantastic.
um,
Great
I'll get
rind.
through the
So
prawns
that
quickly.
probably puts a limit on how many months that you could mature it for, like you say, without it really drying out and cracking and starting to go. Okay,
And that's
cool.
that's why the humidity is really important, and that's been a real learning experience for me, trying to manage the humidity, which we do by, if it's too dry, we throw some water on the floor, and if it's too wet, we don't.
That technical one, that really technical one.
Well,
I love it.
Lucy's been keeping. I bought a Monkland when I was at yours, Dean, and so did Lucy, and we've kept them differently. And I've just kept mine in the fridge. I didn't even unwrap it, completely wrapped. And it is quite. It hasn't softened up in at all the same way as Lucy's has. She put hers in a plastic bag with a wet tea towel, I think it was, or something, but some sort of wetness to bring it, bring it on. And it has made a huge difference, that extra bit of humidity that she'd have had from her fridge than I had in mine. So it is an interesting.
Fascinating. And you're going to have a night, I bet, with a bottle of wine and then taste them both side by side, aren't you? I know.
Well, actually,
Okay.
Lucy's just got a new house, and sorry, this is slightly off the thing, but Lucy's got a new house being built, and she's got a cellar, and it's right by the Thames. And she keeps going, "What am I going to do with my cellar?" And the idea of doing a few cheeses and bringing them on down there and having like a Thames biome going on is quite exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Watch this space.
We'll have some of that. We'll definitely have some of that. She'll be afternoon next year for the competition, I can see.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No. So we've got a couple of people drinking cider, the Henny's classic cider from Herefordshire. Yeah, we love that. Brilliant. I mean, it's just a no-brainer with these cheeses to drink cider with them. And my favorite is Perry. The traditional proper Perry is just superb from Herefordshire. So I'm just going to remove your spotlight again, Lucy, and put Dean back in the seat. So where are we going next? Are we going to go other monk? Are we?
Yeah,
or I think we have to, don't we?
Yeah. Well, so the reason this is called Other Monk is, when Kaz was developing this, she started with the Blue Monk, which is a soft cheese, and then the Other Monk, which is with the penicillin camemberti rind on it. She didn't really have a name for it, and it was called the Other Monk. So that's where that came from. So yeah, this one is now 5 weeks old. It is starting to break down. I guess everybody else is going quite gooey on the outside. And I mean, I think the classic that is really good.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
No, but you're right, Dean, because mine, of course, it's been out the fridge again, like a little bit extra time. I hope you can see in my rather poor light just how lovely,
we can.
Just how beautiful that is around the outside. There's a good
starting to go
good
squidgy.
centimetre. Not so much top and bottom, but and even the middle parts, the middle part of the paste is actually softening up a little bit as well. So yeah, absolutely
so
stunning.
lactic, very, very lactic aroma.
And kind of wild garlic, truffle, those kind of. Yeah, and I think that around about 5 weeks is a really good age for those. They're a little 250 gram little truckle.
I really, 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 really want to wash this insider.
Right.
Mm.
So there's going to be another monk washed insider. It looks like it's crying out.
Drunk monk.
Yes. I think yeah, because we've got Claire Burt makes drunken Burt, doesn't she? And she washes that in the one of the ciders, the Watkins, I think. It's delicious, Dean. So what's the process with this then? Very much.
So
Is it lactic, or is it a lactic set, or have you got the
it is set with rennet. So yeah, this is cut. It's cut quite a bit bigger than the hard cheese, and that keeps more moisture in, which is essentially what makes it the soft cheese. So these are molded and then kept in a warm room, unmolded the next morning. They get to around about pH 4.8, 4.9. And then the PC rinds, the penicillin rinds develops over the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then we wrap these around about 3 weeks old, and then they continue to mature.
And presumably they're all hand ladled into the molds.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yeah, Tara, who's one of our lovely cheesemakers, has got very good at getting exactly the right amount of curd very gently into the molds, to hopefully get these around about 250 grams. So I see the question there, how often do we turn them? So so in the first couple of hours, they're turned every couple of hours. And then from that point, they're turned every other day, to ensure the moisture is distributed through the cheese.
And it's stunning. So presumably the milk is not skimmed in any way. This is the full fat raw milk. And we haven't talked about the breed of cow, or did we? I don't think we did. What breed of cow is it, Dean, or is it a mixed herd?
Both of our farms are mainly Holstein Friesian, but the farm that we have been using mainly for the soft cheeses has a higher fat content, so it's a very rich milk, and that really suited the soft cheeses. It wasn't so great for the hard cheeses actually, because the fat was getting in the way of the curds bonding together, but it really does sing in the soft cheeses.
And what's your favourite pairing with this?
I think I do love Sauvignon Blanc with this. I think it really lends itself to something bright and zingy, and it just reminds me of a summer evening type thing. A bit of fizz would be lovely with this as well.
Yeah, break down.
I was thinking those sort of nice thin Italians, or even a Vino Verde or something would be nice with it, with the sort of greener flavors and things. I mean, it is a delicious cheese. And
you've got lots and lots of hops in Herefordshire, and you've got lots of damsons in Herefordshire. Any damsons still? There used to be lots of damsons when I lived close by.
Absolutely.
And I think a damson jelly or a damson cheese, like made like the membrillo, would be delicious with this. Absolutely delicious. Because
actually we did have some cherry jam with it, Lucy, didn't we?
We did. It was, and that truly was stunning, wasn't it? And it was quite a thin. It wasn't a thick set jam. It was very more compote, wasn't it? Really, Dean. But that was a very good contrast with it. That sharp, sweet, and nice. Then of course you've got the nice juice of the cherry as well in it. When you bite, different, smoothness of the cheese and a little round juicy cherry. Oh,
yeah, because I think you need with this. I think you need that sharpness, because I was going to say honey, but I don't think honey would work that well with it. I think it'd be too sweet. You need that nice sort of tartness of the damsons or the cherries. Oh, you're making me even more hungry. I'm going to have to run to my fridge. I've got some Ballylisk jams and preserve in there somewhere hidden at the back from one of our Northern Irish tastings. So
Actually,
we've got
I was going to say I've got some
what-
dams and Membrio in the fridge, so I should have brought that out. That would have been nice to try.
yes, for afterwards now.
Yes.
Definitely leaving this one out of the fridge for a few more days. Liz is saying, yes, do if you can resist it for that long, Liz. And Richard is saying Madeira Circial would be fab, a little acidic and rich. Oh, I love Madeira. Yes, that would be wonderful. So I think we're getting lots and lots of ideas here, Dean. Recipe collection coming. So let's move on. We've kind of got about 9 minutes left. So last but not least, because this is stunning. I took a few photos for the social media we were doing of the cheeses, and this, that is just, look at this blue monk. Look at those streaks. How wonderful. Oh, someone's just tried. Nick's just tried it with some sour cherry curd.
Perfect.
Rock and roll. Nice. So here we go. This is the Blue Monk. Dean, tell us all about it, because you've got some stunning piercings here from above.
Yeah, so we obviously inoculate the milk with the penicillin rock 40, which gives us that lovely blue mold. And we with the blue cheese, with the soft blue cheese, we're trying to get the balance of having it soft and gooey, but also having it the curds sort of stable enough to allow the blue to grow into the cheese. So we stir this one for a little bit longer, just to get rid of a little bit more of the moisture. And then this is pierced twice and turned during the maturation, which allows the oxygen to get in and the molds to grow. Yeah, and again, it's at its best when it's breaking down in the way that we understand a camembert or a brie does, and is lovely and gooey on the outside. And I like it when it's just got about a third of the slightly chalkier paste in the middle.
That lovely, how stretchy and creamy that is on the outside.
I quite like it firm, although it's not as punchy and not as as blue, as it were, or spicy. I quite like the firm paste because it's got this amazing colour to it.
You like the contrast between the two.
Good contrast.
But yeah, the broken down paste. I mean, you really start to get some kind of meaty, brothy sort of flavours. Somebody suggested miso the other day, and bovril, and I do love the contrast between that and the creaminess of the the centre of the cheese.
Yeah, miso is a good description. You definitely get that.
It does have a fruity sort of undertone to it as well. It's not completely
a little bit sweet. I bet this melts beautifully as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think one of our customers is using it in a toasted sandwich with some sweet roasted leeks, and that's very delicious.
Nice. And what's your favourite way of it?
Grapes or pears is my favourite thing to eat with. I think fruity.
Pears and blue cheese are fantastic.
Yeah.
And ginger beer to drink it with. Ginger beer if you want a non-alcoholic drink. Kombucha would be lovely with all of these cheeses, actually. Someone's asking, will the Blue Monk continue ripening and maturing once it has been open? So once you've cut into it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I mean, as far as you want to take it, really. I think it does get better and better.
And what do you pierce the top with? So you pierce it with, have you got a little hand tool to do your?
We have a hand tool. Yeah, I have to say it's it takes quite a lot of elbow grease. It takes quite a lot of work. So some of our staff use a skewer. So it's a labour intensive thing. Producing 100 of these, which is a batch of these is 100 at a time.
Good. Excellent. Well, they're just absolutely delicious. Lucinda, do you got any other idea, anything else you'd
Well,
like
only
to
that,
say
but
about the blue?
particularly with the blue, I think it would go nice. Either you can go sweet with it as with accompaniments, or you can go down. I mean, dull as it might seem, it is I can imagine celery being absolutely gorgeous with it, because it has got the crunch and the tartness. That would be just amazing. A nice celery. Because there was always I got a bit of it earlier, and I don't know, can't quite find it now, but there was definitely a sort of a hint of a celery seed in there as well, you see, which I was thinking, when Lucy and I were chatting about them. But
what recipe would you use it in, or is there something? I love the idea of the caramelized leeks with it, or the roasted leeks.
We were definitely the pear, you see, for me would be perfect. But any of those the winter fruits would be nice. Something the plummy. I'd imagine it would be also nice with apricot, in fact, in some form. I mean, like roast apricots or something. If you had a roast apricot and almonds together with a bit of honey on or something like that, then I think that would be gorgeous with it.
That would be delicious with it. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I forget about apricots. And apricots are always so good with the summer cheeses, the fetas and the grilled halloumis. Apricots are wonderful with those. We're getting some gorgeous comments here, Dean. You should be very, 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 very proud. 4 fantastic cheeses. So when I say I'm speechless at this one, it's really saying something, or rather nothing, because my mouth is full. We've all had our mouths full. Keep doing what you're doing. Liz, yes. Oh, Liz is saying yes, little phyllo pastry tarts with apricot and this blue cheese. Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for so many nice recipe ideas. So, Dean, what's next? You tell us what your vision is, and how people can keep supporting you, because obviously lots of people have bought the cheese for the webinar tonight, but you have local stockists in the area, hoping to grow that a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to deliver to 2 new stockists today, Hay Deli and some Castle Greengrocers in Hay, who are going to put our cheese on their lovely market stall. So yeah, we've got some fantastic local. The Mousetrap cheese shops have been great supporters. We're lucky to have lots of very good local delis. Yeah, that's
you're going to do Ludlow, didn't you? Sorry, Dean, you said you're going to do Ludlow.
Yes, yeah, Ludlow Market has our cheeses, and the Mousetrap in Ludlow. But yeah, we're going to do Ludlow Food Festival. We're going to the Artisan Food Fair in Melton Mowbray in May.
Oh, fantastic! Have you entered the cheeses? Have you entered the cheeses for the awards?
Not yet. I don't think the forms are out yet, but yes, I think I will.
Pretty close, because the judging's in about 3 weeks. So I really think you should enter these 4 cheeses.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a champion there, because like Lucy's judging. So what she is judging, I don't know, but
very good.
Yeah, I'm judging as well, but it's it's all blind tasting. It's all blind tasting.
I know, of course it is. Yeah,
in our wonderful church up there.
The main thing. I still am at the start of my journey, and I'm learning from, all sorts of chats with cheesemakers and people giving feedback about the cheeses. Isn't there a saying that it takes 30 years to make a cheesemaker or something? So I'm only a little way along the path.
You probably need to get to bed, because what time do you start making cheese in the morning?
So our milk gets picked up about 6 o'clock. We get in about 6:45, and it's a long day, but
a long day with a lot of washing up.
there's a lot of washing up. Yes.
Well, I think I would like to congratulate you on taking on this challenge, and I know you had the recipes there and you've learned how to make cheese, but you're making 4 really great cheeses, and that's phenomenal. Most people start and they can only make 1 cheese and then they progress, and you're making 4 different, very different styles. So congratulations, and I'm sure the Lucinda and Lucy and the Chiswick Market ladies would also like to say the same. Thank you for staying up late to share your story with us, which is wonderful. Has the restaurant that you're used to work for, are they buying the cheeses yet?
Yeah, they are. Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, they're putting some of our cheese in their quiches.
Fantastic. Wonderful. That's great news. So I think we're going to sign off now. I think we've answered. Oh, hang on, there might be another question in the Q&A box. How long do you keep blue for? Not as ripe as other monk.
Yeah, how old is this one? This was made on the 19th of March. So yeah, that's what's 5
It's a
weeks
month
old.
forward, yeah.
So yeah, it will definitely
8 weeks max,
carry on
really.
maturing for another 2 or 3 weeks at the very least, and we'll get better and better. I think it depends on how you like your cheese, doesn't it? If you like it really gooey and walking off the plate, then you can definitely keep that one for another 2 or 3 weeks.
It's very much on personal preference, isn't it? And I mean, the only thing with blue cheese is the ammonia starts to come off, and it can be a bit overpowering. So you've got to just monitor that. But all of the cheeses have got their use-by dates on, and wonderful that you're making with raw milk. So congratulations again. People, thank you ever so much. Do check out our website for Affaner of the Year. If people want to come along, I'm hoping we can drag Dean along to meet some new people this year again. And we've got spaces on our level 3 tasting course, which is an in-person course, which is available on the website as well. So do check that out. Lucy, thank you so much for joining us.
It's been my pleasure eating cheese. I mean,
I'll send you the chat, Dean. And Dean, thank you ever so much, and take care. Keep doing a great job, mate.
Thank you both.
Good night, everyone. Thank you,
Goodbye.
everybody, for joining
Thanks, Tracy.
as well.
Thanks, Dean. Bye.
Bye-bye now. Bye.